My name is Mary Hogan. I'm a student in Portarlington Further Education Center. This year, the Digital Media class of 2014 have decided for the project to create a charity event. The charity that we have chosen is Meals on Wheels, as this is an excellent local charity to deliver meals to elderly people for free of charge. It is a great charity. As the charity, there is also a social aspect, as it is personally delivered to the person. Meals on Wheels is a charity organisation. It originated in the United Kingdom in 1943 during the Blitz. People lost their homes and they were unable to cook their own food. The Women's Volunteer Service provided food for these people. After the war, the concept of delivering Meals on Wheels to people who were housebound and elderly for free or with donations was the foundation for the current day Meals on Wheels. And we all decided to do a sponsor walk in Emo Court, and this was one of the most beautiful places in the country. Emo Court. The first Earl of Portarlington, James Dawson, enlisted the help of the famous architect James Gandon to design the house. It took a long time for Emo to be habitable. The first Earl was killed during the 1978 rebellion, and the house was still not finished when the famine struck Ireland. During the famine, the family were very well respected and liked, as they gave vast sums of money to feed the hungry, which was very unusual at the time. But these grand people, as they would be called, were famous for their generosity and breaking the mould. Lady Aileen Portarlington, one of the most generous and loving of the Earl's family, she converted to Catholicism, which went against all of this class of society stood for. And furthermore, she built a church on donated lands. For the church and the parochial house to be built on when she was buried at the young age of 51, where 10,000 people were said to have been at the funeral. Emo Court, in its heyday, in the final years of the 19th century, was in its heyday in the final years of the 19th century. But times were changing, and many of the wealthier, older families failed to adapt to this change. When World War I broke out in 1914, the family left the country and the house was shut up. In the 1920s, the estate was sold to the Land Commission. For the next 10 years, the house remained unoccupied. In the 1930s, the Jesuits bought the house. Only for the Jesuits, the house would have been demolished. One of the Jesuits, the famous Father Brown, known for his brilliance as a photographer, as most of his pictures were of the Irish countryside and its people. All of his pictures were taken up the first half of the 20th century. The Jesuits turned the estate into a productive farm, but they made some drastic changes to the interior of the house, which took a lot of money and time to rectify years later. The Jesuits sold the court in 1969. It was sold to Major Cholmondeley Harrison, and the Major spent millions on restoration and restoring it to its final glory. He employed the London architect Sir Robert Richardson, the leading authority on Georgian architect, to help with the restoration of Emo Court. Cholmondeley lived in Emo up until the time of his death. In 1994, Cholmondeley presented Emo Court to the President of Ireland, Mary Robinson, for the pleasure of the Irish people. Cholmondeley continued to live in the private apartment on the estate up until his death in 2008. The staff of the Office of Public Works cared for the estate. The estate is host to runners, walkers, picnickers. It is open to the public with no charge. Thousands of people visit Emo Court every week. No matter what time of the day, month or year, the court is full of people. It is a beautiful place, and the people of Ireland are lucky that it has been preserved for the pleasure of the people. Just lately, Emo Court have unveiled their new walking track, which was perfect for us at our event. We all met in Emo Court on June the 2nd, and we advertised our charity walk for Meals on Wheels on Facebook and Twitter. We had a very memorable morning. We walked the 5K, and afterwards we all had tea in the restaurant on the grounds of the court. After tea, we all decided to do the tour of the house, which was fantastic. I would encourage anyone who might visit County Laois to visit Emo Court, and you won't be disappointed. We hope to present Meals on Wheels with the proceeds next week. I would also strongly urge people to keep up supporting this charity, and it's not just about the charity, but people love the social aspect and the personal touch of the company of the deliverer. The end.